Hello, my name's Rue. I'm here to bring the truth to you, although some people might not think it's the truth. Some people might find it offensive. And I like to say this old adage. I'd like to add this adage to my overture, which is elegant words aren't true, and true words aren't eloquent. This is something that I learned a long time ago. And I kind of also want to give a little more outline for anyone that's actually been following my podcasts and anyone new to the show. I would like to say welcome. And this is typically this is going to be a space where I share my ideas and thoughts and opinions on various subjects. But I feel like people that are going to be drawn towards this are introspective people that are neurotic or cerebral is probably a better term because neurotic has some negative connotations. But I do feel like this is also a place for everyone. And my goal with this podcast is to create more peace and truth and awareness and sovereignty in thought and deed and action by doing my best to exude that in my own personal life and sharing my experiences. So first you have to be the change, right? That's what Gandhi said, which is very true. I do believe that. So welcome all you mouth breathers or you mask breathers. It's the tinfoil hat hour. We don't shy away from conspiracies here either because, people really do conspire. Unwillingly or willingly, people are conspiring with and against you. So it's not a big mystery here. There's always a conspiracy, but sad that people on the right and the left and everywhere in between will use that word as a negative frame of reference or a way to shine some light negatively on someone. But I'm actually proud to be called a conspiracy theorist because my boy Cody, God bless his heart, thought I was a crazy conspiracy theorist about a year ago or so when I was telling him about how the government's going to implement these vaccine mandates. You'd have to get a vaccine to get a job, and that they're not going to stop with the lockdowns and the masks, and it's all so confusing because they tell you one day that you don't have to wear masks, and the next day they're telling you to wear 3 masks, and wear more and more masks for more and more efficacy because one mask is only 85, but you put on 2 and you get 95. So that makes me wonder, how many layers of masks do people have to wear to get 100% protection? And really, it's just why aren't more people wearing more masks if they're really that scared? And if it's really that easy, just, anyways, I can't really get sucked into that illogical, irrational frame of existence, because that's what it really is. If you start buying into all that insanity, like, I don't know who thought making government in charge of healthcare was a good idea, but I would like to veto that motion because I feel like it's extremely detrimental to our well-being to continue to subscribe to even the notion that government even tells the truth. See, the simple fact is government lies. That's what it does. Government is literally the antithesis of truth. Will we get the truth eventually? Yeah, we'll get the truth. Like on a lot of things, the truth eventually does come out, but the problem is that those in power would like to keep their power unadulterated for the longest amount of time and grow it as much as they can before it can be challenged. So, with all that being said, if you didn't know that, welcome to my reality. It's a very disturbing truth, especially for someone that never even knew that the government actually lies. But don't mind the cat. He's definitely got some special needs over here. My fiance just closed the door. Thank you, babe. Yeah, government is like oil and truth is like water. They don't mix at all. And the oil stands out on stand out on the water. You should be able to see it. You should be able to recognize it. And some people can instinctively, intuitively see the truth for what it is. And they don't need to really go and gather data. They just have an internal compass, like myself. And for example, sorry, I'm mincing my words here, but I hate to talk about it so much because that's all anyone's ever talking about, especially the conspiracy folk. I'm one of them, but it's just when I saw the article on my smart device about the Wuhan pandemic, I knew that we were in trouble, that shit had just hit the fan. I had this feeling internally of, oh my God, this shit is real. This is really going to happen. This is really the New World Order or whatever you want to call it, the One World Order or whatever I thought was actually conspiracy when I was younger or something that I was aware of that I never believed would actually happen. And I knew when I read the word pandemic that we were in trouble. And this was in December 2019. They were saying there was a pandemic in Wuhan. And I'm like, wait, you can't call something a pandemic when it's just in one place. First of all, a pandemic is literally widespread, everyone, everywhere, instantly, all at once. Pandemos means like all people or all villages. When I say pandemos, that's an etymology. Pan meaning all and demos meaning people. It's how you really get to the word's sustenance, the truth of the word. Etymology is a very poignant study that I've been able to get into and was actually into before I knew it. And then I just got a little bit older and started digging into it a little bit more. And by no means am I an expert on etymology. I do love to study words and other languages. Excuse me. You might want to wear a mask if you're listening to this because I am unvaccinated. So you might catch the COVID because I'm talking into a microphone and the sound waves are hitting your brain. And I think it'll just pass, the COVID will pass through the electricity into your blood-brain barrier. Anyways, enough with the funny shit. I hope everybody's well off right now and stocked up on their foods and such for the holidays. And I hope everyone's going to have a good holiday. And I hope people are focusing more on the immaterial than the material, but also keeping what they need to keep their physical vessel healthy and primed and ready for whatever will come. And tonight, I just wanted to talk a little bit about transition, change, and questioning things. I actually have some things written up. And this is a really good time, too, because as an astrologer, I know that now is a time where people really start to go within themselves because it's darker and there's not much light. So people are going to be staying home more and doing some introspection. And Scorpio is all about introspection. You know, nothing that's surface level is very interesting to Scorpio. Scorpio likes everything that's underneath that, the tremors and the tectonic plates and the depths of the ocean, and the tip of the iceberg is not what Scorpio wants. Scorpio wants to see everything, the what's hidden. Scorpio deals with what's hidden. So, and Scorpio questions things. It doesn't take things at face value. And this is what I'm trying to portray here, is that we must question simply ourselves and everything constantly, because everything is constantly changing. And that's kind of like why I use the moniker Plutonian, because if that's even the right word, Pluto represents change, that's imperceptible though, because it's a constant change. It's so subtle that you can't really notice it. It's the cracking skin and the graying hair and the erosion of society and the breaking down of things. That's Pluto is the gatekeeper to death as well in lore, Greek lore. I reckon Greek or Roman. I never remember which is which, but anyways, I guess I'll just get to it and shoot you guys what I got. Anyways, thanks for listening. And this is what I was writing this weekend. And also, this is going to be my first sober cast here. I'm usually drinking something or puffing on a weed pen, but tonight I'm sober. So this is great. And welcome to the Sober Thoughts. Although I was not sober when I did write this, and I have not edited it, so it might sound something strange, or it might not be as refined or as articulated as well as I would like. I would like to share some ideas about the point of no return, which we are at every single moment in this existential reality that we find ourselves in. Now, hopefully some of these concepts are not too abstract, even for my own understanding, but what we do live in is a supposedly temporal realm a temporal realm that is governed by laws known as nature and karma. These are governing laws, whether you agree with them or not. There's also the governing laws that govern this temporal body, or what I'm saying here is there's the law that governs our body, which is temporal. Our body is subject to time. So when this body ceases to breathe and function in homeostasis, the heart stops beating and this body will turn to the earth. This is a thing that we are all aware of intrinsically, and it gives us a will to live. It's the body's natural function. It is to live. Also to die, but death is a governing law of nature because it does keep balance with life. Life and death balance each other out, supposedly. But what happens when life and death get out of balance? Do life and death ever get out of balance, or is nature self-correcting? Does the universe govern itself? Where does life even come from? These are existential paramount questions that philosophers and historians and mankind grapple with for the entire known existence, supposedly. Why are we here? We ask ourselves that, or we do not. Or whether we have the time to ask it for ourselves, or if it's something that isn't needed to be asked, or isn't on our mind. It is something that should be on our minds because, again, every single moment is a moment of no return. We get to choose our path seemingly in this reality by our choices and our will and what we are willing to engage in and not engage in. and what we try to accomplish. But what are we trying to accomplish collectively is something that I would like to examine. And it's one of the very difficult things to examine. Again, I am part of the collective. I am just a point in this collective awareness. And what kind of awareness do I have? Well, I have this human bodily awareness of an individual. Strangely enough, I feel like I have also a collective awareness of what I see. These images of others surrounding me, portrayed through screens and through my sense perception, known as my vision or my eyes. I see others around me living and existing who look similar to me. 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth. This is the human form. This is what we are. And I'm using a language known as English so you can understand concepts and ideas, labels given to form, words, ideas that we can trade and exchange, known as information. And this is a technology, this communication, this verbalization of ideas, this is a technology. This is how humans convey their ideas and emotions. It's a very old technology. It's the central thing to be human. This is the quintessence of what it is to be human. It is to communicate. It is the human experience, is it not? Whether you're communicating through art or through your creations of physical manifestation or metaphysical manifestation, such as these words. Words that I am creating right now on the mental plane, but the human experience is about expression, and every moment is a moment of that expression of what you are, that you will never have back. The point of no return. So I ask, where are we? What situation are we in? What situation are you in? How can you improve your situation? And then this has to do with respecting time. Because time is the gatekeeper to our soul. Whether you admit it or not, it's time to start asking these questions. If you ask me, who's asking me? It's a good question. Pardon the mic over here. I just trying to make it to where there's as little feedback as possible. It seems to be difficult though. There we go. That's a little better. The question, now this is something that we're not allowed to do, is question authority or the government, especially here in the United States, where so many people are emotionally identified with this construct known as the Constitution. However, the question is, where does the government get its authority? When did me or you ever consent exactly to this said governance? When did the government get its authority? The herd or the hive mind, the collective of society, seems to be driven by fear or shame that is promulgated by the corporate oligarchs, the government, and the media, all in one conglomeration known as capitalism at its highest, most refined form. The art of making money through fear and shame in the quickest possible route, the most effective and efficient way. Who are we to trust in this current situation? Well, hopefully, most certainly not the people who have instituted it and created it. Who is perpetuating this massive chaos and uncertainty that we all live in? Our security, our nation, our education, our children, our future, our food, our way of life, our very autonomy. These are already fundamentally changed and altered. Unfortunately, we never voted to make these choices. These were a knee-jerk choice and reaction to not a response that mirrored exactly those of our supposed enemy, the People's Republic of China, known by some and to others, the Communist Chinese Party. And seeing that simple and blatant action taken by our very own governance, the action of lockdowns and mask mandates and shutting businesses down, et cetera, shows that there is no change of thought or rational objective differentiation in any way, that we are being governed by our government differently than as the Chinese people are being governed by theirs. The simple conclusion is that there is no difference between our government and the Chinese government. Now, this might sound like treason to some, heresy to others. This is my own rational and objective observation of the events that have taken place in the past 19 months, 20 months. We're getting up there, guys. At this point, no rational, 21 months, I think, to be technical, or objective evidence is really going to sway anyone from their general opinion on this entire subject, simply because most people are polarized on this and have become emotionally identified by their stance. That is because the political landscape has become so toxic in the past 20 years or so that there is no real discussion that is capable of getting anywhere because of what we see portrayed on the media and the movies that are consumed by the populace. It is getting impossible to deny that we are entering into a different kind of social structure here in the West. If these freedom passports, medical freedom passes, medical security devices are implemented for a disease that is benign, that is part of nature, that is man-made, who knows? We can't really honestly answer these questions because the people that are trying to direct the response are actually being held accountable for their direction. We can't get real answers from these supposed real leaders because they are out of touch. The medium through which they are being viewed, through a corporate media monopoly, backed up by lobbying senators and congressmen who pass laws, make it legal to emotionally and mentally manipulate the people that the information is directed at from their lofty towers of shameless superiority. They sow discontent into the minds and hearts of the masses. Simple. The most basic thing human needs to survive is information. Next to food, water, and connection, information is what we thrive off of. That information is so abundant right now, people can't identify information that is harmful from information that is detrimental to themselves and others. This information warfare has been going on for at least 20 years, as far as I can tell. It's very simple with the advent and release of the internet, smartphones, social media, and all the data being harvested, generated, and shared at breakneck speed is being bought and sold and then aimed back at the hearts and minds of the consumers. Who is not guilty of being on these digital mediums, these internets, this linked and plugged in way of life, which we are all enmeshed and entangled, which the human mind and human vessel, physiology, biology, everything the human is needs protection from this. It needs insulation from stimuli so the mind can be focused and maintained in a positive way. We've reached a point where this information is overloading our neural networks, our emotional networks, our physical biology is not even able to hold up in front of this technology. Our eyes strain from the blue lights, affecting us in ways that are not openly spoken about. Radio frequencies are not being studied in an unbiased way because of biomechanics and biotechnology. We're going to be outpaced by automation. We are already outpaced by automation algorithms. The narrow band of algorithms is already taking human capacities. The richest men in the world are saying that we are going to have to use a one-size-fits-all solution to adapt, like getting a vaccine and a neural implant. Either way, the breach into the skin from technology is here. It is not imminent, and now we are at a crossroads. How do we branch from the old to the new, from the new to the old? How do we integrate technology and humanity? That is come to the time that we cannot delegate any more authority to centralized figures of power, centralized figures have become drunk on that power, gluttonous on their own desire and greed for control of every aspect of our lives. The American people are the richest nation in the history of modern society. Our nation is now global and it is fully spread throughout the entire world. I believe all nations are looking up to America right now to guide us through this situation responsibly, because we do actually have that responsibility and we do actually have that apparent power. Pardon me. Whether it is through our military prowess or through our technological advances or through our economy, either way, we are undoubtedly living like kings at the expense of the rest of the entire world, and it is about time for us to actually take this into consideration and not be guilt tripped into any absent-minded decisions that are going to affect the rest of the world in any extremely negative way. It's time for us to take responsibilities for our own actions and choices, which at this point have been extremely selfish. If we don't correct our mistaken goodwill, then we are going to reap the consequences that are extremely unfathomable. Right now, people are making choices based off of fear. We're making changes based off of fear. We are being forced into change. Now we are at a 30-year high for all the things that we need to survive comfortably in America. The supply chains have been destroyed and continue to be at risk for collapse. The real question that I've been asking myself and wondering that if other people are asking or wondering is, where is all the time going? There is a way to reclaim time, and if people value time anymore, it's because there has to be a way to reclaim time, right? And if people still value time, that's the question. And it seems like it's running out. The more we listen to the media's portrayal of the situation that we face, undoubtedly we all face a situation where it does seem like there are growing problems that need to be dealt with and fixed. It's a mess, am I right? There is a mess, and who's got time to fix it? And it seems like this mess just keeps getting messier and messier. It's time for some divine organization, if I may so say. It's just problematic that people do actually think that the government is going to clean up its act and clean up this mess and do it on its own. The mess that it created, the mess that we are complicit in. But at this point, we can see the evidence of their actions surfacing again and again. Like the children that were murdered and massacred by the US and Canadian government of those indigenous tribes that were here before colonialization. You got to understand, it was a systematic destruction wrought by those that were in power. Not trying to blame anyone in particular, any race, ethnicity, or anything like that. It's just what happened is what happened, and it's history, and it's all behind us. It's in the past. But this is where you get all the social justice warriors that are putting on their false robes of virtue, parading about for change. Yes, there's a change that needs to happen and some things that do need to be acknowledged, but not through blind emotion and childlike irrationality. It's very easy for people to sit on their keyboards and go into a different dimension, a different reality that we know is the internet, and pretend like they're doing good, doing the right thing. But it's time that we really did start doing that. It's time that we start using this technology of our mind and this actual physical technology for the better. And the real question that I'd really love to dissect with anyone at any time is just the simple fact: what is the government actually protecting? Me from you, you from me? Is it protecting me from a deadly virus? No, the most deadly virus known to mankind, the plague? Is it protecting me from the most deadly totalitarian government known to mankind? These are just very simple questions. What is the actual product that the government produces or supposedly produce? Does it produce protection? What is the function of government? Does it produce municipalities? Does it produce service? What is it really? The need, what is really the need for it? It's the use of force. That's what the government is. And as far as I understand, it's monopoly on force. It's the only real It's only, well, sorry. I couldn't read that part, so pardon me. I did not edit this script. But again, okay, here we go. It's a well-organized militia that we have here in the United States. So what are their objective uses of force? As far as I've seen, the events of 9/11 were supposedly the most heinous terrorist events ever witnessed to the American people. It was like when Pearl Harbor happened in that event. Still another event to question. There have been many traumatic, heinous American events that were never ever prevented by the government. And what does the government actually protect us from? Seeing the most highest men in government do the most egregious crimes known to mankind, specifically when Bill Clinton received fellatio from Monica Lewinsky when I was very young, and then proceeded to lie about it on national television. This man was never held accountable in any form or fashion except for an apology, as far as I know. Really, what is this heresy and this blasphemy that I speak about questioning towards the government? These questions directed at authoritarian issues, questioning authority. Well, I think it's our rightful, God-given, inalienable right that a piece of paper known as a Bill of Rights or a Constitution is a testament to. A limited express government with checks and balances. Is this a result of that? Did the government get smaller? Did the government get more humble? Did it correct itself and change its ways? Is it easier to control year after year, or do we get a more tyrannical, greedy, ignorant, blind, and fearful government year after year? Take a look at the populace and how we've been divided down every single line that there is possible, from family to gender, sexual orientation to what we eat now and what we stick into our bodies. As what kind of medical treatments we get, what kind of medical procedures are willing to participate to be in society. And at this point, the real question is, are we willing to sacrifice the functioning and safety of society for a medical procedure at this point? So those were the ideas. Those were my notes that I took. This is kind of what goes through my mind. It is what keeps me awake at night. No, it's not the most profound, but as you can see, I am carrying the weight of this nation, the weight of the world. I do concern myself with other people's well-being. I do my best. But, the only thing we really can do is take care of ourselves and improve ourselves. That's what I always say. And on that same token, you're making the world better just by making yourself better. I don't really have much else to say tonight. I'm sorry it's a short broadcast. I don't really get any feedback on these, and it's not a very big show, so it's difficult for me to gauge how long and how much content I should put in. And I'm sure maybe someday I'll go back and delete these or rewatch these and laugh at myself because of my young ignorance and my unrefined nature. But I'm trying to do something. And there's so much information out there that I could be sharing with you and could be using to try and scare you or try and push you in one direction. But I feel like that's what everyone else is doing. That's what the news is doing. That's what so many people with podcasts and putting out content, so many people do that. So I'm trying to do something different here. I'm trying to do something unique on my own. And I don't really see the effect of what making people aware of negative shit is doing, because these bad things aren't changing. People aren't doing much about the shit that they see bad in the world. And there's really nothing we can do against this government yet, not at this level. Not an individual, and a collective is surely going to be stomped out. But I do encourage people to grow their own food. I do encourage people to eat well, exercise, breathe fresh air, meditate, journal, and get some skills. Really, honestly, get yourself some skills. Because this isn't always, hopefully, going to be, and this is something that I kind of always hoped for and assumed. I don't think it was a feeling that I had. Hopefully, maybe it will be a feeling, and maybe it is a feeling, but I do not believe that this monetary, debt-based economy is going to last forever. I really don't. Maybe it'll go into cryptos or something. Maybe it'll go back to barter and trade. Maybe it'll go back to savagery, barbarism. Who knows? But I do know that I'm grateful to be alive, and that I'm going to keep fighting, and I'm going to keep spreading the truth. And hopefully keep making videos, do some astrology videos, because I know that's what people like. Anyways, God bless you. I appreciate you for watching. Like, comment, share, give me your thoughts. Spread it, help this channel grow, or don't. Dislike, give me negative comments. I don't care. I'm going to use that as fuel anyways. Peace out, y'all.